Hello, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. So I can say to you, welcome to the Advancement Center here in Santa Barbara with the sun shining and a smile on my face for the whole human race. I welcome you to the world of magic and miracles. Haven't you noticed whenever you cannot explain the cause of something happening, you just chalk it up to, oh, it must be magic or miracles? We've all had this at some time or another in our life. A chance meeting with someone you just dreamt of. You think of someone you haven't seen for years and the phone rings. Yes, it's them. These make great stories for anecdotes and telling and enjoying, and then you let them go. But aside from being entertaining, I am here today to share the miracle that has enabled me to be here at this moment, speaking to you and sharing my own story. That was a week that was a very popular talk show on television years and years ago. But it describes perfectly this past week in my life. And I've got to call it was a week of magic and miracles. As I look back, in every case, I had to quiet my mind in order to go forward. Well, quieting my mind was listening to my intuition or following my spirit. First, on Sunday, I discovered a very expensive piece of jewelry missing. I remained calm. I looked in all the obvious places, and as a last resort, I checked the kitchen garbage. I went down past all the layers of napkins, and there it was, that piece of jewelry. Now, if that's not a miracle, I don't know what is. Especially since that was the first time we did not empty the garbage the night before. That makes it a double miracle. Then somehow I wrenched my shoulder to a point that it was immobilized and in constant pain. With my arm in a sling and telling myself positive thoughts, the sun came out. And I lay all wrapped up in a blanket on our reclining chair out in the sun, all except this shoulder. I peeled back the blanket and welcomed the sun's warmth and its penetration and just fell fast asleep. And when the shadows came and the sun began to set, I stood up and my shoulder was perfect. It had mobility. And I felt the miracle. of the magic. That was amazing. These anecdotes are not just anecdotes. These are deep realizations and sharing of how healing really happens. And losses are found. Now, that was Thursday. On Friday, David delivered a sterling broadcast where I could not suppress my giggles because at the time I thought it was hysterical, but now I realized how close it was to hitting home. And here's just a few of his words. When you take on the diagnosis, you disengage with magic. There's a moment when you observe a simple truth. I have a flat tire. I don't have enough money to pay the bill. I have a pain in my wrist and it hurts to pick up a mug. These are obvious realities that are happening. But the brain takes what's obvious and begins to analyze and factor every possible cause and solution. We self-diagnose for more times than we get a diagnosis from a doctor or a psychologist, or certainly psychiatrist. The key is not to accept what comes into your mind from what you have self-diagnosed. Once the self-diagnosis is made, which is at some point after the observation, you must engage magic and miracles without delay. And you will find out why. That was just, I still remember the giggles. I sat right there and I couldn't suppress them. Now, on Saturday, Simeon transmitted the highest message from the outer reaches of the universe. And his absolute positive effect came through his twin here on Earth, Robert Young. Within moments at the close of the broadcast, we received this glowing thank you all the way across the globe in Turkey. It is so delightful. It's from our friend Latvia. And I made a copy so I could show it to you. And here it is. It was so wonderful. I forwarded this to so many friends. I know you can't read it, so I'm going to read what it says. Dearest Barbara and Robert, see the hearts? Love you so much. Thank you so much for the great transmission from dearest Simeon. I totally feel like I am in heaven on earth. After this transmission, I will be proud of myself, not having any analysis, not using my brain, not having any thoughts, just enjoying. See the monkeys? Just enjoying life and being in auto flow. Much to say but not able to right now due to the euphoria. Wish you all the best as always. So much love from me. Thank you, Latvia. Now you know when I say a smile for the entire human race, everywhere on this globe, hearing words of truth and enjoying magic and miracles. Now it's that time for my journal. Here's where I put deep thoughts, and then I can read them later and realize how much can change. So here it is. Okay, this is Saturday. Oh, almost 9 o'clock at night. And I wrote, Dear Simeon, your broadcast before brought tears of joy and freedom, and a huge appreciation of Robert for bringing you in. Eager to edit and have a wonderful transcript to share, especially with Lutfia in Turkey, who wrote an immediate response to the broadcast with overflowing euphoria and joy. When I completed the task, I stood up and my left leg crumbled if I put any weight on it. Robert insisted I walk in spite of the excruciating pain. He refused to fall from the heights of the broadcast. And I discovered, in desperation, a low back office chair as my getting around to sitting at a delicious dinner and doing the dishes. I set up to prepare for my broadcast, and I'm writing to you as a relief. Robert says I am giving in to the pain. Perhaps pain management is a good topic. I pray that I wake fine. To which Simeon, God bless him, wrote, Dearest Barbara, something is off balance and is sitting in your left leg. You are a trooper and will ride this one out. Like your shoulder. Rest now and we'll touch base in the morning. We love you and are supporting you. Love, Simeon. This tells quite the story. And this morning at 7:26 a.m., I wrote, Dear Simeon, you already know what I'm going to say. Thank you. From going to cancel my broadcast to not wanting to wait before the broadcast to begin. I became a living example of your words. Thoughts, logic, cripple. I was an example of what is happening in the world. Too many words flung about logical or illogical, create disturbances, and disturbances create havoc throughout the world. To which he replied, Dearest Barbara, we have already declared you a trooper, and your pain, certainly a disturbance, brought our message to a head filled with thought and disturbance, and so much unnecessary pain. You did it and will now broadcast with your own story and proof of yours and everyone else's divinity. The moment you stopped laboring, your new life was born. Thank you for sharing. We love you. Love, Simeon. Wow. Wow. That's all I can say. And in his transmission yesterday, Simeon spoke these words. The brain, the mind, is something that's been developed from the noise in your system. The measurement of brain function is actually the measurement of disturbance. Thought comes from a disturbance. So, in fact, what you have been relying on is disturbance. And that's why you can never find anything by using thought apart from disturbance. You always find what's wrong, or you find there's something wrong, or something is disturbed, something is out of place, because that's the truth. The less you rely on the disturbance, the easier it is to realize that is not you. That is not your life. That's not your brain waves. It's a disturbance. If you use more than 30% of your brain, so the scientists say, you will die. But in fact, if you have more than 30% disturbance, natural functions won't work properly. The less you use your brain as thought, the more effective your personal control system is at running automatically. And you never find anything wrong. Wow. I feel like shouting that from the rooftops. It's amazing. It's simply amazing. So, to continue, in the middle of last night, when nature called, I left my brain still sleeping. And after a few halting steps, I walked to find my phone to listen to Simeon again. I walked without a pain. I was thrilled. And with that, a hidden story came to light. I know this is in the past, but I think it proves what just happened. 81 years ago, my favorite uncle, oh, no. 81 years ago, my mother, my very protective, cautious mother, you can imagine all the disturbances, put me to bed with a slight cold. Now, my favorite uncle was home on furlough. This was World War II, 81 years ago. And we had a date. I heard him talking to my mother downstairs, saying that he will not be stood up when his favorite girl and he had a date. And he was very serious and adamant with my mother, his older sister. Well, I got dressed quickly. We took the subway from Brooklyn to Manhattan, went directly to Radio City, which is very well known in New York City because they have stage shows. And the movie, I will never forget, was Mrs. Miniver with Greer Garson. And the only reason I know that I was only 6 years old is because I looked it up. When did Radio City show Mrs. Miniver? And then they had a stage show, and we marveled at the Rockettes and their precision dancing. It was very, very exciting. I was 6 years old, but it's exciting no matter how old you are. So then, after the movie, in this incredible date I was having with my favorite uncle, we went to a Chinese restaurant. Now, I'm 6. He could have ordered one meal and perhaps a half or a child's portion. No, he didn't. He could have ordered 2, but he didn't. I'll never forget. He ordered dinner for 3. I can't tell you if we finished it all, but that certainly stayed with me. What an amazing man. Seymour Cadams remains a hero of my childhood, where I was constantly bombarded by thoughts of others, words coming from everybody, and lectures when a reassuring hug would have said volumes and meant so much. And that is why I'm so excited about the formation of the Peace School, where all of these important matters are taken to heart. So, yeah, that was fun. Thank you for listening to my personal story. Yeah, it's a personal account that demonstrates every word I have ever heard from Robert and Simeon. Thank you, Robert, for your love and endless patience. Be on the alert for thoughts lurking and replace them with a smile. The best medicine, according to Simeon. And without thought, he also said, You're alive. And the flow of energy that comes from you is endless, universal, and personal. And speaking of personal, this is the result of Thursday night's art class. Wait, it goes this way. Okay. Yeah. My pastels have no words, but say a lot to those who love me and who I love. Whoops. No thought required, just a deep acceptance when I wish you a perfect life, perfect health, and an amazing future filled with magic and miracles. Thank you for listening. I am Barbara.